Alan here, the Urban Arcade, and this is my video about Tomb Raider 2 for Android. Now, it was released on iOS devices about a year ago, and I did have an iPhone at the time. I no longer have it, so I really wanted it on my Android devices such as my phone. Now, as you may or may not know, I'm a huge Tomb Raider fan and always wanted it on every playable platform. Now, recently they released it for Android, which is really nice. It only cost about £1, and I thought to myself, wow, it's about time. I've waited over a year for this now? But I thought, hey, it's better late than never, and I get to walk around with this on my phone to play whenever I like. Now, I did a video before about Tomb Raider 1 for Android, which again is available on iOS. Feel free to check that out if you want to know any more information about it. Now, ever since then, I really wanted to play Tomb Raider 2. The way they cleaned it up, the way they've added new textures. Now, I really liked what they did with Tomb Raider 1. It was the same game, it was very playable, and it was an instant hit of nostalgia. It was good to play it again, but now on my phone. Wasn't that a weird concept that you never expected, to walk around with a game you used to play on a console in your pocket, but looking slightly better than it did back then? Now, you're greeted with the cutscene that you remember back in the day, you know, with Braveheart sound effects. The quality's a little lower than I remember, but I think that's to fit it all in on one small app. Then the Tomb Raider 2 main menu, where you can go to Lara Croft's home. You can even play Tomb Raider 2 Golden Mask, set the detail level so it can play on pretty much any device, and you can even configure the controls if you're using a controller. Now, I'll talk about that in a minute. And you can play the game, saving and loading, just like you did on the PlayStation or PC. Now, I play Tomb Raider games a lot anyway, but always seeing this little cutscene of Lara Croft jumping out of the helicopter on the Great Wall of China still brings back that nostalgia. That first sequel, it was going to be a whole new adventure. Especially if you just completed the first one, and that was hell to do. That took a lot out of me, that did. And then going on to this thinking, what next? You know, what's going to happen in this game? Now, if you're not using a controller, you're going to straight away be using the touchscreen controls. Now, a lot of people complain about them. They are quite difficult to use and get used to, regardless of how long you've been playing it. Now, although they are laid out quite well, they are hard to get used to, I must admit. Even though Tomb Raider controls are in the back of my memory. It's like a second memory for me, you know, where I've been playing it so long. I like the way they've implemented it, don't get me wrong, and this is how most people are going to be playing this game. I doubt many people are going to be walking around with a controller in their pocket, so you're going to have to get used to this. There's going to be a lot of complaints, but there is quite a good balance after a while. You can actually complete this game playing without a controller. I got through 2 levels, I must say, and it was quite difficult. It still is, but it is doable. But for these games, I'm going to have to heavily suggest getting yourself a Bluetooth controller to playing this with your phone or tablet, or on your phone having a clip that attaches your phone to it, because it's the best way to play this kind of game. And they ain't that expensive, believe me. I've got this Bluetooth controller. I have a video made, so feel free to click on that if you do want to know any information about it. And I think this is the best way to experience Tomb Raider 2 on your phone or tablet. It's the only way, really, because you can play it feeling comfortable, and that'll really take you back. Now, I have my tablet plugged into my TV via micro HDMI, and it's like having a console plugged in. Seriously, this is like having a PlayStation 1 with a controller there. Although this is Bluetooth, there's no wires. It's perfect, I must say. Having the PC/PlayStation version of the game, this is the best way it looks, and I think this is now the best way to play Tomb Raider 2. I really do. So invest in a Bluetooth controller, preferably one that's sort of modelled after the PlayStation 1 or 2 controller. Make sure it's Bluetooth, and you'll have a blast. Now, for the game itself, it runs very fast like Tomb Raider 2 on the PC. Bear in mind, it's a bit framey and slow on this because I am recording it with my phone, actually, my Galaxy S6. So every now and again it slows down a bit, but that's not what the game's like. It runs smooth and fast like the PC version. So I'd say it's more like the PC version than the PlayStation version, actually, and the textures have been updated, and there's a few little tweaks that are here and there that you'll notice along the way if you play Tomb Raider 2 as much as me. It's brilliant. It's Tomb Raider 2. It's all there. The only thing I noticed that wasn't there was the original cheats I used to do. You know, the level skip, weapons, and blowing Lara up. But you know what? I don't use cheats that much anymore, and I didn't back then. It's just nice to have them there, for nostalgic value. Now, it's a good tribute. Now, the weird thing is, when you play an old game, and you come back to it years later and think, oh my god, it looks shit. The same sort of thing happened to me with GoldenEye. It wasn't as good as I thought it was. That's not the case. Although I do love the way Tomb Raiders were originally anyway, it doesn't really matter to me. I love them. They're timeless classics to me. But this way is better. You're going to come back to it and think, oh, it looked as great as it did back then. You're going to dive in, do one of them spinning rolls into the water like everyone did. And I think you even get an achievement for that the first time you do it. Obviously, I've done it quite a few times. And then nostalgia is going to hit you. Nostalgia, puzzle solving, thinking, and action. This game had it all. It was really good back then as well. It's one of my favourite games, although Tomb Raider 3 is my absolute favourite Tomb Raider. Out of all of them, that is. This was very fresh, very outdoors, and so many locations, and also very difficult. I think this was one of the hardest Tomb Raiders for me. This level itself I must have played over 1,000,000 times. I had it on a demo for ages, and it was just after I completed Tomb Raider 1, so I did actually have to wait for Tomb Raider 2 to come out, so I played this so many times. So it's a great game, and oh, have you forgotten? I'm actually playing this now on my phone. Yep, that's right, I'm playing this full game on my phone. It has everything on it, including the hidden levels, Golden Mask, you know, the add-on. And also, you can save it whenever you want, load it whenever you want, like you could on Tomb Raider 2 on the PS1 anyway. And I paid £1 for it. Wow. I mean, there's a lot of remakes nowadays as well, a lot of HD remakes. This isn't that. I mean, if anything, you'd have thought that they would have released Tomb Raider Anniversary for the first one anyway. But they didn't. This is the original Tomb Raider 2 cleaned up. They did a good job. It's a good idea. A lot of people say don't mess with the originals. They haven't. They've just implemented something a little better, if anything. And that's why I can appreciate the hard work that's gone into this. I think you will as well. There's all the cheesy dialogue, little cutscenes that you see at the end of most levels. I love it. It's still there. It's still classic. There's still a heavy hit of nostalgia. So it's very much welcomed in my book. If you did love Tomb Raider or played it a lot back then, I think you should go and get this. I mean, there's even Lara typing with her fist on the keyboard. That was always a classic moment and still is to this day. Again, they didn't change nothing there. They didn't add fingers. And I found myself playing this, going through levels just to see what they've changed. Like, what kind of textures have they added? And look at this hit indicator to show me where I'm getting shot from. Well, little added things like that. I love that. That's a really good idea. Something that isn't needed, but they've added it, you know? A lot of things nowadays that they add that we didn't have back then. Oh, and if you like the video, like, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the video or of this game. And if you want to see other videos that I've done, mainly Tomb Raider stuff or anything else, subscribe to this channel. And I'm not telling you to, it's completely up to you. Now, if you are wondering what Tomb Raider 2 on the PS1 looked like, this is it. This is Tomb Raider 2, although a bit grainy and dark. This is me recording it from the PlayStation 1. Now, it doesn't look as good as you remember, does it? It's a bit squeezed, it's got a box round it, and also, playing it on newer TVs, it looks even worse, I must say. And it's not what you remembered. That's the weird thing about it. When you play this, you think, oh, that's how I remembered it. It's really not. So go back and try Tomb Raider 2 on the PS1 and you'll see what I mean. And it makes you really appreciate what they've done with this app. Well done. I actually say congratulations. You've got a good game here. I love it. And that's coming from an old school Tomb Raider fan. Although I like the newer ones, I'm still a bit pissed off about the Rise of the Tomb Raider not coming out for PlayStation 4. But we won't say any more about that. So, it's great. I really recommend it. And do you remember going to Lara's home? Yes, that place with her annoying butler following you around. They've even cleaned it up a bit. Now, the main reason you only ever went there was to do the assault course, look for hidden secrets, and yes, lock the butler in the freezer. Yep, he was a scary guy. Come on, we all did it. We went in there, lured him in, thinking, oh, Lara, you want a cup of tea in the freezer? Okay, so you'd wait there for a bit. He walks over to you all happy, farting and saying, I've made you a nice cup of Earl Grey. Here you go, love. You say, oh, thank you. As we're in the freezer, Winston, you know what? You're staying in the freezer, mate. And that's how you stopped him following you. Yeah, we were cruel kids. Why we tried it, I don't know. But everyone picked up on it. Everyone played this, did the same thing. And you even get an achievement for it this time around called Frozen. Lovely. It was a very unique thing going to Lara Croft's mansion. It was very personal, going to someone's home, your character's home. And I always wanted to go outside that gate that you saw. I glitched out of there on Tomb Raider 2 to thinking there was like a place you could go. Somewhere outside the gate, but there wasn't. It was an illusion. The same thing happened in Tomb Raider 3. Now with all them memories and this update, I was thinking, maybe someone heard my cries. Maybe they've added something out there. All of these texture updates, they could have added a new location past the gate. That would have been amazing. That would have been something special. All of that time trying, I've mentioned it before, this was one of my obsessions as a kid. I always tried it and there was never nothing out there. I always heard that there was a black taxi out there, and once you got into it, there would be a short loading screen and you would end up in like Piccadilly Circus, like an old version of London. And I don't know why that sounds silly now, but it excited me. I've always wanted that. And yeah, again, there's nothing there. It's an illusion. There's a corner that turns to nothing. Seeing that from an outside perspective, it does look like there's a turning to something, to somewhere. Oh well, I've made peace with it now. I still love this game very much. It's still weird to be doing this kind of thing over 20 years later, and now on my phone. So, I can't recommend this game enough. Seriously, if you played Tomb Raider and you liked them before, buy this. Get it, play it, and you'll love it, believe me. Alan the Urban Arcade, signing off to play some more Tomb Raider 2. I'll see you later. Bye.